President Donald Trump on Wednesday expressed confidence that the United States was nearing a major breakthrough in efforts to broker a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. His remarks followed a series of high-level meetings in Washington, including his second private session in 48 hours with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The U.S. administration is reportedly spearheading an urgent push to finalize a temporary cessation of hostilities in Gaza, aiming to simultaneously secure the release of hostages and alleviate the ongoing humanitarian catastrophe in the region. "I will tell you, we're getting very close to a deal," Trump said. "We want to have a ceasefire. We want to have peace. We want to get the hostages back. And I think we're close to doing it," Trump added. Trump's comments have intensified speculation that a ceasefire agreement could be imminent. The current proposal under discussion involves a 60-day ceasefire window during which both sides would temporarily halt military operations. Under this deal, Hamas would release a group of hostages believed to include both living captives and the remains of deceased individuals, while Israel would agree to scale back its military footprint in certain areas of Gaza, potentially retreating to predetermined buffer zones. Humanitarian aid would also be ramped up, entering the territory under the supervision of international agencies. Despite Trump's optimistic tone, official word from Netanyahu's camp was far more cautious. While he confirmed that discussions were ongoing and reiterated Israel's commitment to securing the release of hostages, there was no formal declaration of progress. The Israeli Prime Minister has maintained a firm public stance that any ceasefire must not compromise the broader goal of dismantling Hamas' military and governance structure in Gaza. This strategic objective remains a central condition for Israel and a major sticking point in negotiations. The war, which has now lasted well over a year, has left the Gaza Strip in ruins and sparked global outrage over the humanitarian toll. According to aid agencies and local health officials, tens of thousands of civilians have been killed, thousands more injured, and much of the region's infrastructure has been reduced to rubble. Food shortages, medical supply collapses, and displacement on a massive scale have created conditions that many have described as catastrophic. In recent weeks, the U.S. has increased pressure on Israel to accept key elements of the ceasefire deal, particularly regarding troop repositioning. While not calling for a complete military withdrawal, the proposed agreement envisions Israeli forces pulling back to allow for safer corridors through which aid can flow and for hostages to be released. The ceasefire would be monitored closely by UN officials and other third-party observers to ensure compliance from both parties. Within Israel, the political implications are deeply complex. Netanyahu faces resistance from within his own coalition government, particularly among hardline ministers who oppose any pause in military operations. These internal divisions could hinder his ability to fully commit to the proposed terms. Nonetheless, Netanyahu has refrained from outright rejecting the deal and continues to engage diplomatically with the U.S. and other stakeholders. For Trump, who is in the midst of shaping his legacy in his second term, this potential agreement represents a chance to demonstrate diplomatic strength on the global stage. His administration's foreign policy team has worked behind the scenes to craft a resolution that satisfies both humanitarian imperatives and security concerns. Some observers see this as Trump's attempt to deliver a significant international peace achievement during a highly polarized domestic political season. The coming days are expected to be critical. Negotiators from both sides are continuing to exchange terms, with hopes that the remaining obstacle and mutually acceptable map of troop movements can be resolved. Intelligence assessments suggest that Hamas is ready to release at least 10 living hostages and the remains of 18 others, contingent upon assurances that Israeli troops will not immediately reoccupy key sectors of Gaza. In turn, Israel is expected to release a substantial number of Palestinian detainees and allow increased humanitarian access. U.S. officials have also hinted that the framework of the ceasefire could serve as the foundation for broader regional discussions. Beyond halting violence in the short term, the Biden administration envisions a path toward re-engaging the international community in Gaza's reconstruction, and possibly laying the groundwork for renewed peace talks between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. Despite this momentum, skepticism remains high. Previous ceasefire attempts have collapsed due to lack of enforcement, shifting military objectives, or unilateral actions by either side. Additionally, extremist factions, operating independently within Gaza, may not honor the ceasefire, potentially reigniting hostilities. Israeli security officials have already warned that even a temporary withdrawal will come with heightened risk. Still, Trump's statement represents the most hopeful tone heard from a U.S. president regarding the Gaza crisis in many months. His administration has framed this initiative not merely as a diplomatic achievement, but as a moral responsibility. American allies in Europe have also expressed support for a temporary halt to hostilities, contingent upon the safe return of hostages and the delivery of urgent aid. The proposal is expected to be finalized in the coming days, if remaining concerns can be addressed.